the opportunity would not present itself if you weren't ready. Like, God in the universe will send you opportunities, even though you don't think that you're ready. They would not send them to you if you weren't ready. Welcome to the Rooted in Growth podcast, a podcast dedicated to cultivating personal growth, digging deep, and blossoming into the best version of ourselves. Welcome back to the podcast. If you're new here, I realize that I really didn't formally introduce myself in episode 2, just in case you landed for the first time on episode 2. So I need to make it a point to always introduce myself. So my name is Britt, and this is my podcast, Rooted in Growth, where we talk about all the ways in which we can be better at personal growth, all of the lessons that we have learned in our journey, and just giving insight and advice and resources to help us along. So we're on episode 3, and before we start, I just want to say that I'm feeling very proud, not only because I've been consistent and inspired every day to get on here and just talk and speak freely about whatever has been placed on my heart to share, but just the fact that I'm really coming into the feeling of I host a podcast. Like, again, sometimes that just doesn't feel real. So if you keep hearing me talk about that, I'm sorry. But I think having to outwardly say it each time makes it feel more and more real, you know? So when I went back and listened to episode 2 of me sharing my story, I loved it. Obviously, I really did let it all out, but I realized that I missed a very key part in my story that I usually tell people. And I was like, maybe subconsciously that was supposed to happen so that I could go deeper into it on this episode. So if you haven't gone and listened to episode 2, I encourage you to do so you can get some context of what I'm going to dive deeper in today. But basically, to shorten it, I was talking about the point in time where I was a social media consultant and I was feeling really burnt out. I was feeling overwhelmed, like I was stretched beyond my capacity with all of the clients and the work that I was taking on. And I quit that business, basically dissolved it within 8 months of starting it. But I didn't talk about the key thing that I did to help me pivot and shift into my purpose. And I think a lot of people are walking through life and feeling as though they don't know what their purpose is. I definitely felt that for a short amount of time in between social media consulting and starting, on this journey of educating about plants. But at that time when, I hired a brand strategist and she was telling me to get on social media, basically to get on TikTok because I was on social media, but I had never been on TikTok. She was telling me to get on TikTok, post, talk about plants, don't think about it, don't strategize, and all of this. But prior to that, I did this exercise that I always tell people about because it really did help me to understand what my purpose was. Because again, after telling all of my clients, hey, I'm shutting down this business, I'll no longer be running your social media account, or I'll no longer be offering social media consulting services, I was really feeling lost. I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do from here. I don't know what I I have no plans. You know what I mean? I didn't have anything lined up after quitting the business. And typically you would want to, right? But I was just so over it that I was ready to do whatever. It didn't matter. I just was like, I just need to figure it out. So I sat down with myself and did this exercise. And I always encourage people to do it because if you're really looking to figure out your purpose, this will really help you if you take it seriously. And the exercise was I wrote down a list. There was 3 different lists. So on the first list, I wrote down all the things that I was good at because I realized that throughout my life, I would do a lot of things that I was good at because I was good at them. right? Like I thought about going to culinary school at one point because I felt I was really good at cooking. I did the social media consulting business because I felt I was really good at social media. So I just wrote down a list of all things I was good at because I just love to learn things and get really good at them. I love to master anything that I am learning or just want to be better at. And after I wrote down that first list, from that list, I wrote down the things that I was good at, but then also loved to do. Now, this is where things really started getting interesting because it helped me to identify that I can be really good at something, but it doesn't mean that I love to do it. And I think it's important to be aware of that because I feel like we just as people will do things that we're good at because we're good at them with no kind of just love and passion behind it sometimes, you know? So again, I wrote down from the first list all the things that I was good at. And then on the second list, I took from that and then wrote down the things that I was good at and that I love to do. And then on the third list, I wrote down the things that I was good at, loved to do, and would do no matter what, whether I got paid for it or not. I would just do it because it would never feel like work. It just was so natural that it it was the thing. You know what I mean? Like it was just my passion. And there were two things left on that list, and it was plants and helping people. Because by this time, I had over 100 plants and had became really good at taking care of them. They, really responded to my care. And obviously I loved plants and they loved me back. And it was just something that I always spoke so freely about. I just wanted people to get into the hobby. I wanted everyone to have a plant in their home. Like that was my mission. It still is my mission. And helping people, I've always loved helping people. Like I naturally, from I would say a very young age, have always loved to help people. I mean, in another life, quote unquote, I like to say, I used to be a healthcare worker. Before I became an entrepreneur, I worked in healthcare. I was a CNA. I was an activity director for senior communities, and I did all of the lifestyle activity programming for seniors. And I loved it. I loved that sense of helping them and enriching their lives every day. But even outside of that, I just love helping people. I just want to help everyone. So those were the two things that landed on that third list. And I didn't know I was going to do that information. I didn't. I mean, again, me and the brand strategist were talking about plants and then trying to figure it out. And doing that exercise really helped me to understand that I need to figure out what it is to do in this realm because this is the path that I'm supposed to be on. And I am a firm believer that when purpose meets passion, that's when opportunities open up. And I felt like my purpose was to, and still is, to help people. My passion is to help people through plants. And all of these opportunities have opened up since identifying that and really falling into that. I mean, I fell 100% into that, not knowing what I was going to do, coming out of that business and just figuring it out along the way and being open to receiving whatever opportunities were coming along the way, because I think that's the other part of it. Once we identify what our purpose is, we have to have discernment and the awareness to know when opportunities are coming our way, because they may not look like what you expect them to be. They may not come in the same package that you see, but opportunities will come and you have to be able to identify and act on it and say yes to them. Because the other part about that I feel people fall short is when an opportunity presents itself, people will say no. They will think they're not ready. They'll be scared. They automatically say no and don't even give themselves a chance to see what they can do with the opportunity, what the opportunity can do for them. And my favorite quote, I have a lot of quotes that I will be quoting throughout my podcast episodes because I just resonate with quotes and they really do hit hard when you can apply them to your life. But one of my favorite quotes is, the opportunity would not present itself if you weren't ready. Like, God in the universe will send you opportunities, even though you don't think that you're ready, they would not send them to you if you weren't ready. So always say yes, even if you never feel like you're ready or you just don't even understand how you got the opportunity, say yes and figure it out later. But most times we already know what to do. It's already within us and it will come out as the opportunity starts to unfold. And so I really wanted to talk about that more because that was a very key moment in pivoting from one business to a completely different life, really. I mean, social media consulting obviously has some crossover with what I do now because, yes, I do it through a form of my own content. Like, I've taken all the things that I've learned about social media and still learn. I'm always wanting to learn about social media and plants, and I really deep dive into those topics. But now I apply that to being a content creator. And I never imagined being a content creator or an influencer. Like, that was never my goal. It was just to help people because in my heart of hearts, that's what I felt that my purpose was to help people. Being a content creator and being an influencer came with the opportunities that I didn't say no to. So it's very interesting where life will take you if you are willing to be aware and pay attention and have discernment and even just have faith, because that was like a huge leap of faith that I took in quitting a business that was making a substantial amount of money to going into a passion that I had no clue where it would lead me to. I had no end goal other than to help people. I didn't know what that would bring me, but it has brought me an amazing life. I mean, a content creator that then evolved into a content creator and a plant consultant that then evolved into a content creator, plant consultant, now offering merch and a soil mix and, you know, being a motivational speaker even, because I've done corporate speaking engagements where I talked about plants and wellness. So it's just been very interesting. And I really do give credit to myself, obviously, but I give credit to that exercise in something so simple as that, but helping me to identify where I needed to go when I was feeling very lost. So I encourage you to try that exercise. In fact, your homework, if you like homework and, you know, are really working for your own greater good through these podcasts and wanting to really apply things to your life, is doing it. Sit down with yourself and really take it seriously and just give yourself time to let all of the ideas and things that you may or may not know about yourself, but will arise if you allow yourself to let it. Do the exercise and see what comes out of it. Because whatever is left on that third list, that's what you should be pursuing. And I know it's going to be scary. I know it's going to feel like, but I don't even know what to do with this information. I felt that. I get it. But the answers, the opportunities, all of that will come. You just have to have faith and you have to believe that there is something on the other side of that for you. Because once you identify it, it's like the awareness of, this is what I need to do. This is where things are going to happen for me if you feel like things aren't happening in your life. And that's not what I was feeling at the time. I was just feeling like I need to figure some things out. I mean, bills got to be paid, like life is lifing and I need to figure it out. But it wasn't necessarily like I wasn't worried about that. I was just aware of it, I would say. But again, through all of that, like, not too long after I did that exercise, I got into my first idea accelerator that paid me a $5,000 grant for an idea that I had involving plants. And then I got into the Eventbrite accelerator that paid me $10,000 for an idea that I had to grow it bigger that was involving plants. And other things that I didn't talk about in my story was in the year of 2022, when I started the plant TikTok account, I did get into the Builders and Backers Idea Accelerator. I did get into the Reconvene Accelerator. I also got into support Black businesses with TikTok, which was like their program that gave like mentorship and things like that. And then I got into another accelerator type of thing for Tulsa. It was like within Tulsa. So I had gotten into 4 different business type accelerators off of an idea that I had that was for my own personal gain at first, which was really to just meet other plant people in real life so that I could connect with people that were into the same things as I, because I felt like I didn't really have that when I was getting really heavy into collecting plants. And then come 2023, at the top of 2023, I got into another idea accelerator that paid $10,000 that helped me launch my soil business. So when I tell you that exercise really helped me to navigate and thus change the trajectory of my life, coming from, the beginning of my story that I told in episode 2 to where I'm at now and still growing. I mean, we're still in 2024 as I am doing this episode, and 2025 isn't even here yet. And I'm so looking forward to whatever is to come, whatever opportunities are coming my way, because I feel as though now that I am aligned with my purpose and my passion, I have nothing but opportunities to come my way. You know what I mean? Like, I receive that and really just kind of put my hands up and let the universe and God work. And even in the scary times where I don't see things happening physically here in this realm, in the material form, or I may feel lack, I have to immediately snap out of it, or I'll go talk to my mom, because she's been one of my biggest cheerleaders. I mean, she will always kind of talk me back down and say, keep going. You're like almost there. I can feel it. Oh my gosh. She is so great at that on the external side of things, but I also say those things within me too. Sometimes I just get really caught up in my own emotions, but really understanding the alignment that I have with plants and helping people, and letting whatever comes to my mind and my heart in ways to offer and be of service in that. I think that's what it is too, is like when I learned that my passion and my purpose with plants and helping people was also to be of service to people, right? Whether it be educating, whether it be just being encouraging or inspiring, or offering a service or a product or a need, feeling a need, really. More things just come to me all the time of like ways I can be of service. And I think that is where the abundance comes, is always wanting to help people. So then the universe gives me that 10 times back. And again, not all the time in the ways that I want, but all the time, every day in the life that I get to live. And that's probably like the first time I have just realized that is where I need to keep my energy, in the gratitude of every day I am literally living out a silent prayer, a manifestation, a vision, a Pinterest pin. Like, I am literally living that out every day. So opportunities are here every day, because every day that I get to wake up to this is an opportunity. Every day that I get to talk to you on this podcast is an opportunity. Every day that I get to create is an opportunity. Every day that I get to do what I love is an opportunity. And every day that I get to be surrounded by plants is an opportunity. Because the other thing is that I think about when it comes to plants and them being a huge part of like my purpose and my passion, is that there are people out there that cannot keep a plant alive. And that makes me sad, but it's also just, if you are a plant parent and you feel like your passion maybe is plants, or maybe like your purpose is in plants or whatever, even if not, if you are a plant parent, understand that you should feel an immense amount of gratitude, if you don't already, an immense amount of gratitude to be able to experience nature in your home every day. There are people that have to have like fake plants in their home, and they want real plants, but they can't keep it alive for whatever reason, or they don't have the time, or it's, whatever. But you get to have these living things in your home and have a piece of nature in your home at all times. And I think that's like so beautiful, because I couldn't imagine my house without plants. Like, if you have gone on my socials and seen my home, could you imagine it without plants? I mean, it would feel so empty, so bare, so cold, and so lifeless, and so meaningless, really. So that exercise did more than even help me to understand my passion and my purpose. It helped me to really hone in on gratitude, because I think a lot of times we lose sight of the things to be grateful for, even the smallest things, like just the smallest things that we get to experience and other people may not. So I never take it for granted. And although I will sometimes get into the human emotion of, it's not happening fast enough, it's, where is it for me? Like, I really have to snap out of it very quickly and come back into the present and say, you know what? You actually have everything that you have ever wanted and more. And anything else is just extra. Anything else is just the universe letting you know that you have done and are and will be that vision that you saw for yourself as soon as you identified your purpose and your passion. Because I had a vision as soon as I finished that exercise. I had a flash, really, of what it could be, but it was like I couldn't like I couldn't see it clearly. It was just, I had a flash of like, it was like the light bulb went on and it was a flash of a type of life, but it wasn't clear. So now I'm living in the clarity and I'm living in what my past self 2 years ago, almost a little over 2 years ago today, was identifying. And that is so beautiful to really like sit in that. So yeah. Who told me to get emotional? My goodness. But I encourage you again to do that exercise because I think it's really important, especially going into a new year and setting the intention for your new year, to really, really, really lean into your purpose and follow your passions. No matter how hard you think it is, no matter how much you don't know what that means, no matter what future you don't know exists for you, identify it and just start walking into that. Your heart will tell you and guide you on where to go. You'll see opportunities start popping up and you have to take them. You can't be afraid. You just have to take them and see what's on the other side of that. But I encourage you to do that. This was placed on my heart to tell you this today. And I really do want to explore more about what even brought that to me to tell you today. Because before I got on this podcast, I was just editing some content and my hand started doing this. And not like there is any underlying cause. And for those that can't see what I'm doing, like my hand is like shaking. I've been meditating recently and I'd never meditated. I've never meditated in my life, at least not intentionally. Like I've gone to sleep with like binaural beats. So I guess I've done subconscious or unconscious meditation, but I did like an intentional meditation and have been for, I don't know, the last like 5 days. And through these meditations, like I have felt like a power, and it's hard to explain if you have never meditated, but I felt like a power go through my body. And now sometimes when I am conscious, I feel this power in this hand, which I am right-handed. So I feel it in that hand, but like I feel a power in my hand that sometimes is like so strong I have to close my hand to like harness it. And to me, I am taking that as you have the power to create, and something is just placed on your heart or on your mind. So go share it, go create about it, go talk about it in whatever form that is. Get it out of your system right now because it's going to be so powerful for someone else. So you're transferring the power that you have within you to like someone else. And I stopped everything that I was doing. I stopped editing my content, hurried up and turned on the camera and started recording this podcast. And I really hope that the power that it took for me to share this and the power that I was given to tell you this has been transferred to you, to give you the power to go out and find your purpose and your passion. Because I don't take that lightly. I'm like, if the universe gave me a power to do that, like a superpower, I have to transfer it. I have to share that. So I want you to go out, do the exercise, and send me a message. Let me know if it helped you. And if you want to be even more transparent and vulnerable, share what came for you on that third list. What is your passion and your purpose that you gain from that third list? Because I want to encourage you to follow that. You did not land on this podcast by chance. It was for a reason. And I want you to take advantage of that and really go do something with this information that I'm sharing with you. So, I got that out. I feel so good to be able to share that with you. But thank you so much for tuning into this episode. And please, if you're listening to this episode, please share it with someone. Share the episode, tag me in your stories that you've listened. Please also give me a 5-star rating. I'm going to ask for that because most times I wouldn't even say something like that, but I'm going to ask for that to, help boost this podcast and, really get more people aware of it. I don't necessarily care about it in the sense of like, oh, I want more subscribers or more followers or anything like that. Like, I just want more people to get the information. So share this and we'll see you in the next episode. Thanks for listening and let's continue to grow.